ply to building facade are, the same, and in the same location. So when this was presented to the Planning Commission for a vote at their December meeting, they did unanimously recommend approval of ordinance 25-20, which is now ordinance 26-02 because of being in a new year. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those.
Thank you, Mark. I'll start off with, I'll need a motion.
Move to approve.
Okay. Okay, Vice Mayor, Alex. Okay, we have any resident comments? Anybody signed up to speak on this? None? Then we'll move on to discussion. Alderman Burnett.
No questions.
Okay. Alderman Kane.
I'm kind of glad that the Planning Commission worked on this. I was there that night at the meeting, and based on the architectural design plans that they presented, I think the building's going to look really good, and being able to get it to fit in is a good thing here. Working with the new and old buildings and longtime owners and developers is something we need to do.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Alderman LaCroix.
Hey, Mark, I got a quick question for you. So what are we going to do with like a really old building that's still out there that hasn't been upgraded, that's in the MUTC, such as Village Green? If they decided to put a similar structure to this there's nothing that fits.
Yeah, I mean, you can only do so much, unless we wanted to revise the ordinance again, but the new building would have a little more flexibility than is in there right now, but it would still have to average to the 75% face brick.
So it would, a new building per se would have to fit into our architectural design standards.
That's right.
Again. Oh, we're back again. It would be an upgraded or updated design standard, not like the old building that's there.
Yeah, it would. It would have to meet the design standards for the new mixed-use town center requirements, yeah. Yeah.
Now, understand in Village Green, we do have two out parcels that have not been filled, and the one that is on the corner there on Campbell Station, and then the one on Kingston Pike that's right beside Truist Bank. So we have had numerous people looking at both of those, and I talked with Davis Overton today, who is the guy at White Realty, and he was filling me in on the properties that they had available, because a lot of times people call and ask about that. And so the old Turner Homes building is now going to be the Fifth Third Bank. Did I say that right? Fifth Third, yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, those two buildings, the bank buildings out there, they are largely face brick. So that would be one good thing. It's just the older building, the bigger building in the back is not much, there's not a lot of masonry with it. Yeah.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
I think the flexibility that this change affords developers is important, so I support it.
Okay, I do as well. And let's see here. With discussion closed, I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Kane.
Yes.
Alderman LaCroix.
Yes.
Alderman Vice Mayor Meyer.
Yes.
And Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Okay, let the record show that the ordinance 26-02 has been approved on the first reading by roll call vote on January 22nd, 2026 at approximately 6:33 p.m. Okay, next will be ordinance 26-03, approval of ordinance 2603 on the first reading that was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission as ordinance 25-21. This ordinance is to amend the Farragut Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, zoning, Chapter 3, Section 17, Office District 01, Subsection B, permitted principal and accessory uses and structures to add interactive sports analysis services as permitted use to include a definition for interactive sports analysis services in Chapter 2 of zoning ordinances. Christian Miller, applicant.
You can see I like long captions from the first
Yes.
two. Sorry about that. This is also an amendment to the zoning ordinance. This would amend the office zoning district to provide for a use that we didn't envision when we were developing the office zone many years ago. It's something new. It's called Interactive Sports Analysis Services. And the request is to allow that as a permitted use and to define it in Chapter 2 of our zoning ordinance where all the other definitions are. This came about from an applicant that's looking to open a business on property that's zoned office. And his particular business is kind of golf-oriented. It's a member-only, appointment-based indoor golf practice simulation experience. So you'd bring your clubs in, and you could simulate playing different courses around the world. So that'd probably be the only place I could safely play golf, I would say, without hurting anyone. But so it sounds really interesting. And when that was presented to us, just wanting to move into that space, it was like, it's not really anything cleanly provided in the office zone that really addresses that. There is a provision under professional services that the Board of Zoning Appeals can evaluate uses that may be similar to uses that are specifically listed. But normally we try to still steer people away from the Board of Zoning Appeals because we don't want them to become quasi-legislative. And a use like this, we felt like a text amendment was a better approach, and that's what we advise the applicant to do, because there may be other sporting activities that you could use these simulation techniques. The key is really, for this use, is whether the use was of a nature that would be consistent with the intent of an office zone, and it's really a transitional zoning district between residential and commercial. So you're looking at low impact type uses, for those type of zoning districts. So after we kind of went through what the applicant, their program involves, and put together some language, this was workshopped with the Planning Commission in November. We came up with ordinance language that was in Ordinance 25-21, and it does define this term, and it also, in the office zone, provides for this to be a permitted use, but it does restrict the size of the space that you could have for this to 3,500 square feet, and it prohibits the sale of retail goods, food, or alcohol. Again, we're looking at a low-impact use that doesn't generate a lot of traffic or things like that. There was some concerns about noise and trying to abate that, and so we have some language in the ordinance that addresses that as well, that any noise associated with such use shall be contained within the space, and then they would have noise-proofing measures that would be shown on their tenant space finish-out or their building finish-out plans. And these are all things that the applicant is going to do anyway, and he was fine with all those parameters. So when this was presented to the Planning Commission for their vote at the December 18th meeting, they unanimously recommended approval of Ordinance 25-21, which is now Ordinance 26-03, and the motion is to approve Ordinance 26-03 on first reading.
Okay, do we have any residents' comments? Nobody signed up, okay. Discussion, do we have the applicant here? You like to step up, Mr. Miller?
Christian Miller, 8847 Samuel Andrew Lane, 37922.
Thank you. Okay, Alderman Burnett, we'll start off with you.
Yeah, my only concern was noise, but it sounds like that's already addressed, so thank you. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Kane?
Where's this facility going to be put in?
It's 12756 Kingston Pike. It's over kind of off to the right of the Renaissance Shopping Center.
At the new building?
Yeah, it's like
okay,
a new, it's almost a flex space. It really does not look like an office building, but yep.
Alderman Corey? Okay, Vice Mayor.
Pass.
I have nothing as well. I think that it's a good fit, and good luck with it. Okay, discussion closed. I'll ask Town Recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett,
Yes.
Alderman Kane,
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy,
Yes?
Vice Mayor Meyer,
Yes.
and Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that ordinance 2603 has been approved on the first reading by a 5-0 roll call vote, January 22nd, 2026, at approximately 6:39 p.m. Appreciate it, Mr. Miller. Good luck.
Thank you all.
Okay, next will be ordinance 2604, approval on the first reading of ordinance 2604 that was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission as ordinance 25-22 to amend the Farragut zoning map to rezone partial 05501, tax map 152, as well as partial 055, tax map 152. That will be on 12232 Turkey Creek Road from agriculture to general single-family residential R2. Midtown Legal is the applicant.
Yeah, this item has a lot of history to it. We actually had a workshop before the July 17th Planning Commission meeting just to specifically deal with this matter. It involves a single parcel that was sold as part of an estate sale as two tracts to two different property owners without actually being legally subdivided. As was discussed at that July workshop, the parcel, I don't know if we have a map of that. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to see, but the parcel is bisected by Turkey Creek Road, which is not uncommon. I think there's 16 other parcels along Turkey Creek Road that are bisected by the road. What is uncommon for this one is that the house is actually on the lakeside portion, and the larger part of the parcel is on the non-lakeside portion. The lakeside part of the parcel is a little over 9,400 square feet, and the non-lake side is a little over 20,000 square feet. So the purpose of the July workshop was just to introduce this to the Planning Commission to see if ultimately they may be open to approving a subdivision plat. The reason that this is coming about at all is the town has, normally you can only put one dwelling unit on a parcel. And since there's already a dwelling unit on the lakeside part of this existing parcel, the folks that bought the larger tract want to build a house there, but they can't do it without it being legally subdivided into two actual lots. Something else that was noted about this parcel is that it's currently zoned agricultural, which has a 5-acre minimum lot size. And obviously it's a grandfathered lot, but it also has pretty significant setbacks. So if you tried to further divide that lot, you're making it even more substandard in terms of the size requirements in agricultural and really the setbacks too. So one thing that we advise the applicant to do is to try to rezone it, because the variances to the size and setbacks and things like that are zoning requirements, and those have to be taken to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And so what we were trying to do by rezoning this from agricultural to general single-family residential, which is what is yellow there on the screen, and that's what Brixworth is currently zoned. That has a 15,000 square foot minimum lot size. So the part of the parcel on the non-lake side would be brought into compliance in terms of the lot size by rezoning it. So what we're trying to do is lessen the amount of variances when it does have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals to, at this point, would be only one, and that would be the lot size of the lot that would be on the lake side portion of the parcel. And there's really nothing you can do about that one. It's just, like I said, it's only 9,400 square feet. But rezoning it would definitely bring this into compliance much greater than without rezoning it. So when this does have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals, they've lessened the amount of variances. So For that reason, you know, the applicant did apply for the rezoning, and it took some time to locate and obtain approval from the person that bought the lakeside part of the parcel, but he is in agreement to the rezoning, once he understood what it was about. It actually benefits them. So both parties are in agreement to the rezoning, and it was presented to the Planning Commission for their recommendation at the December 18th meeting, and they did unanimously recommend approval of ordinance 25-22, which is now ordinance 26-04. And the motion is to approve ordinance 26-04 on first reading.
Move to approve?
Okay. In this case, do we have an applicant here? No? Do not, okay. Do what? He knew about it. Okay. Well, then, let's see here. Then we'll go ahead and, we've got a motion and a second. Do we have any resident signed up for this one? We do not. Then discussion, Alderman Burnett?
Sure, so I've worked with this family going on a year now who, just an amazing family that was put in a very bad situation with, I would say, no fault of their own. And so I'm glad to see us continue to work through a process to help make this right for them, even though it wasn't us that did it. So I'm very happy where we've landed. I did have one question separately, though. How do we stop this from happening in our 15 or 16 other properties? Because I want to make this right for them, help them make this right. I also don't want to do this 15 times for the other properties, because I think anybody with a brain would look and go, oh, I'll take the lake property.
One thing, as I mentioned earlier, that is unique to this parcel is that the house is actually on the lake side. And I think when talking with the town attorney about that, that was one thing that would definitely differentiate this parcel from most of the other parcels along Turkey Creek Road, because they're usually have boat docks on and so you couldn't re-subdivide that anyway, because you can't create a lot that just has an accessory structure on it. It has to be tied to a principal structure, which is the house. So you don't have that situation here, so it's a little bit different. So it was really kind of as far as we could tell, the only parcel that really kind of fit into that type of situation. So hopefully it wouldn't be, a precedent. I don't expect it would be.
It shouldn't be something that we see again. This one was really, really unique because somehow, somewhere along the way, a surveyor prepared a survey and it got recorded without having been approved way back years ago. And it was just a record. It wasn't a plat that would have passed our standards, but it got recorded, and then the sale occurred by way of an auction, an online auction. And so the people that bought it on the basis of the representations of the auction company. And I still hadn't figured out how there got to be a closing, because normally the title company that did the closing would figure out that there was not they would find that there's no tax parcel number for the two different parcels before they closed. So I've never been able to find out the answer as to why that happened. But it's such a unique set of circumstances. I don't see how we would ever run into it again.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And thank you, Alderman Burnett. Alderman Kane?
I have no questions.
Okay. Alderman LaCroy?
No questions.
Vice Mayor?
Pass.
Well, I have none as well. We've pretty well discussed this to the point to where we are ready to vote, so I'll need a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Kane.
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meyer.
Yes.
And Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Okay, let the record show ordinance 2604 has been approved on the first reading by 5-0. Roll call vote on January 22nd, 2026 at approximately 6:49 p.m. Okay, next will be another one, ordinance 26-05, approval on the first reading that was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission as ordinance 2523 to amend the Farragut Code of Ordinances, Chapter 24, Subpart B, Article 3, Vested Rights and Development Standards by providing for an updated provisions consistent with the recent amendments to the Tennessee Code annotated, that'd be TCA, Town of Farragut applicant.
This is also one that has a lengthy history to it. All the way back in January of 2015, the state legislature amended the Tennessee Code to provide for statewide standards for when development plans would become vested. And that legislation allowed local governments to look at the types of development plans they have in their communities to identify those that would be candidates for vesting at the time of approval, was the way that was tied to at that point. So we developed Ordinance 15-17 back in 2015, and that's what's in the existing Chapter 24 of our Code of Ordinances that's being proposed to be replaced with the ordinance before you. So that the current ordinance that we have, as I mentioned earlier, it establishes the types of development plans, in this case specific to the town of Farragut, that would become vested, and then what action would constitute approval of such development plans. So that means you get it approved by whatever entity it is, and then they also have to address any subject tos that were part of that approval. So fast forward a few years to this past May, and the state legislature amended the Tennessee Code again. And this time, it was modified to start the vesting at the time of submission rather than the time of approval. And they also established vesting development rights for building permits. They do have language in the statute that talks about submitted, and something has to substantially comply with the requirements of local development ordinances and regulations for it to be submitted. The Tennessee Code further was amended to actually require local governments to specify what constitutes substantial compliance. Because if a community doesn't do that, then there would be a potential for disagreement about when something was submitted and thus when it became vested. So for the past actually couple of months, we've been working with the town attorney to develop the language that's in Ordinance 26-05. One of the things that was important for us to reference in this ordinance was to try to get at the likely intent of the legislature, and that is that substantial compliance must correspond to the requirements that were in effect on the date when an initial application was filed. So I think that's the key, is that you're held to whatever was in place when you filed a complete application. So the language in the ordinance specifically references that, because just because something is submitted, that doesn't make it complete or compliant. So it has to be able to include all the information that you would need for whatever it is to be approved, for it to be substantially compliant. So that's in Ordinance 26-05. Also in there is more clarification on a final development plan and a preliminary development plan, which is the language used in the Tennessee Code, and just kind of spelling out what those are as applied to the types of plans that are specific to the town of Farragut. So it's a little bit of a complicated issue. We kind of struggled with it a little bit. Spent a lot of time going back and forth with this, but When this was ultimately presented to the Planning Commission at their meeting December 18th, they did unanimously recommend approval of ordinance 25-23, which is now ordinance 26-05. The motion is to approve ordinance 26-05 on first reading.
Okay, we have any resident comments? No one signed up, okay. Then discussion, Alderman Burnett,
No questions.
Alderman Kane.
So Mark, just to clarify for those people that are watching online, if I draw up a design and hand it to you on a piece of paper, that doesn't fall into this realm anymore.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be substantially,
It's gotta be
Complete.
architectural drawings, the whole
to be
the whole
able,
thing.
yeah, to be able to have enough information to be able to qualify for some kind of approval.
This-
You can't just say, oh, I submitted this and I vested. Now, that's what
Exactly.
we're trying to do in this ordinance, is make that clear what that
Good.
is.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up that way, just so people that are watching that understand it, that it's, you gotta be ready to move some dirt and start building, basically. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Alderman LaCroy.
Hey, Mark, so, and just to clarify from the response that you sent on the vesting period, a development is 3 years. So they submit their plans, it's substantially compliant with, our ordinance. They have 3 years from that point to begin the development itself. If they don't make it, they have to resubmit under the new guidelines. And then you said something about the multi-phase project, that's 15 years. So, and it goes in sections, so, sections, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. If they submit phase 1, it's vested for 15 years from that point?
Well, it's vested from whatever was specific at the time for whatever was approved. And as long as they stay current with it, there's things you have to do throughout the process to maintain your vesting. And you don't change. I mean,
Right.
if you start changing it a lot, then no, you're not vested anymore. But
So there's 3 phases, they submit plans for phase 1, but not for 2 and 3. When they submit for phase 2 and 3, they have to meet the new requirements.
they would be whatever's in place when 2 and 3 are submitted is what they'd have to be for that.
Okay, thank you.
Because it's whatever's on the books when you submit something that's substantially complete is what you're vested in for whatever it is at
Right.
that point.
Thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor.
Pass.
Well, myself, I talk with the folks that built the villages, built the village, and they are now building their bungalows. And this is a good example of one that's been underway for quite some time. So and it's just carrying on. But that was from, again, we have an original plat on that, so that's all I have. Okay, discussion's closed. I'll ask the town recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett. Alderman Kane.
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy.
Yes?
Vice Mayor Meyer.
Yes.
And Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show ordinance 2605 has been approved on the first reading by 5-0. Roll call vote, January 22nd, 2026 at approximately 6:57 p.m. Okay, next will be ordinance 2601, approval on the second reading of ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2025-2026 general fund and capital investment program fund budget, passed by ordinance 25-10.
Hello. There have been no changes since this first reading. The general fund budget will be amended by increasing expenditures from $12,263,643 to $12,298,643, an increase of $35,000. The increase of $35,000 will be added to the community development personnel budget. Additionally, the Capital Investment Program Fund Budget, CIP, will be amended by transferring $120,000 from the Capital Fund available fund balance into the CIP expenditures for fiscal year 2026. The CIP expenditures will increase from $24,880,884.92 to $25,884.92, an increase of $120,000. $90,000 is for the transfer forward of the remaining budget for the Watt Road Roundabout project, and $30,000 is for the Everett Road Greenway Connector project. The proposed motion is to approve ordinance 2601 on second and final reading, amending the fiscal year 25-26 general fund and capital investment program fund budget, passed by ordinance 2510.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any residents signed up to speak on this? None. Then we'll go to discussion. Alderman Burnett,
No questions.
Alderman Kane,
No questions.
Alderman LaCroy,
No questions.
Vice Mayor.
Pass.
I have none as well. I'll ask for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Kane.
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meyer.
Yes.
And Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Thank you. Let the record show that ordinance 2601 has been approved on the second and final vote by 5-0 roll call vote on January 22nd, 2026 at approximately 7 o'clock p.m. Okay. Next will be a resolution. Looks like we have one very important resolution to review and consider for approval tonight.
Yes, sir, Mayor. This is approval of Resolution 2601, appointing G. Keith Alley as our Farragut Municipal Court Judge. Every year, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen needs to reappoint a judge for our municipal court. The things they have to do to hold office are they have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, be at least 30 years of age, and have been a resident of the town for at least 1 year preceding their appointment to office. Judge Alley is our current judge and has been our judge since 2016. He meets all those qualifications, and he has agreed to serve again as our judge for the 2026 court year. He wishes he could be here tonight, but unfortunately had another commitment to be at. But the motion would be to approve Resolution 2601, appointment of G. Keith Alley as the Town of Farragut Municipal Court Judge.
We have any residents signed up for this? None. And discussion, Alderman Burnett,
No questions.
Alderman Kane,
No questions.
Alderman LaCroy,
None.
Vice Mayor.
Pass.
I have none as well. I ask the town recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Kane.
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meyer.
Yes.
And Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that R 26-01's resolution has been approved by 5-0 roll call vote on January 22nd, 2026 at approximately 7:02 p.m. Okay, next will be business items. We have 3 to consider for approval tonight. We'll start off with approval of supplemental requests from LDA Engineering for additional services for the Everett Road Greenway extension.
Yes, this is a supplement request from LDA Engineering for additional work required to develop final construction plans for the Everett Road Greenway connector. The Everett Road Greenway connector will be 550 feet of sidewalk and curb and gutter connecting the greenway at the back of Split Rail Farm to the Fox Run Greenway along the west side of Everett Road. There's an additional fee of $25,500, and that increases LDA's fee to $44,000. Staff recommends approval.
Move to approve. Second.
We have any residents signed up for this one? None. Okay, then discussion, Alderman Burnett,
No questions.
Alderman Kane,
No questions.
Alderman LaCroy,
No questions.
Vice Mayor.
Pass.
I have nothing as well. I'm just glad to see that we're to that point, that we're doing a connection. Okay, with all discussion closed, I ask in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Let the record show the request has been approved as requested. Okay, next will be approval of a 5K Dolphin Dash for the Farragut Primary School involving streets and Village Green subdivision.
Yeah, this is a request for approval of a 5K run that would be the morning of Saturday, April 25th, through some streets in the Village Green subdivision. It will benefit the Farragut Primary School PTO for funds for additional playground equipment designed for students with physical mobility limitations. This request was presented to our event committee on January 5th. It's anticipated this event will have roughly 200 participants and maybe 200 spectators. Parking will be at the primary school, and that's where the staging area, the start and finish of the race will be. The event committee is recommending approval of this event. I think they have already notified the Village Green residents, and they do need to update their certificate of liability insurance form to add the town as an additional insured. With those subject tos, again, the event committee is recommending approval of this 5K event.
Okay, do we have anybody here to speak on that? Oh, you want to step up, please? Thank you.
Hello. My name is Victoria Gerlach. I am the chairperson for the 5K.
Have anything to add?
Not in particular. The schedule is to have the runners go through the neighborhood around 8 a.m. And it's a run walk, so hopefully everybody crosses the finish line in about 2 hours is hopefully our anticipated finish time.
You good with the subject twos that Mark?
Yes.
Okay, you are? Okay. Then in fact, do we have any residents signed up to speak on this one? No. Discussion on Burnett. You have any questions for?
No questions. Good luck.
No questions.
Alderman LaCroy.
None.
Vice Mayor.
Pass.
I don't have any as well. With discussion closed, I ask in favor, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Any noes? Let the record show that the request has been approved as requested. Thank you. Good luck with it. Okay, next will be approval of parental responsibility zone traffic common policy. I think you're up, Eric.
Pedestrian safety is an important topic for the residents of Farragut, town staff, and for the Board of Mayor and Alderman. Traffic calming in the form of speed cushions is routinely requested as a method to help reduce traffic speeds on residential streets. The most recent version of the traffic calming policy, adopted May 11th, 2023, was amended by the board to omit the affected area from consideration and reduce the required affirmative vote from 65% to 50% plus one vote. This amendment was made to allow those most affected by speeding on a street to have a larger voice regarding whether speed cushions are desired or not, so long as speeding was indicated through speed studies. Staff was tasked with reviewing potential alternative options for consideration of traffic calming, specifically with parental responsibility zones in mind. Parental responsibility zones, as determined by Knox County Schools, are the streets or portion of streets on which students reside where the parents of such students bear the responsibility of ensuring their children get to school because there's no school bus service available. 3 options were presented to the Board of Mayor and Alderman at the December 11th, 2025 workshop. The board elected to proceed with option 3, which was to create a separate policy for parental responsibility zone streets. The use of a separate policy to allow special consideration for residents who live on an eligible street within a parental responsibility zone will allow for the traffic calming application process to be streamlined and places weight for consideration on whether the portion of street on which traffic calming is being requested falls within a parental responsibility zone. Unlike the traffic calming policy adopted by the board, May 11th, 2023, there are no speed study requirements for parental responsibility zone traffic calming applications. This special consideration is made with the understanding that there will be potentially more pedestrian foot traffic, specifically school-age pedestrian traffic, in the locations where there is no bus service. The affirmative vote for approval by residents of the speed zone is 65% plus 1 vote. If the vote fails to meet the 65% plus 1 vote affirmative vote requirement for this parental responsibility zone traffic calming policy, the requester may then submit a separate traffic calming application under the most recently adopted traffic calming policy, where both evidence of excessive speeding as measured through a speed study and a 50% plus 1 affirmative vote from speed zone residents are requirements to move forward to the next steps in the process. Staff recommends approval of the parental responsibility zone traffic calming policy.
Move to approve.
Okay, we have anyone, any residents, no residents? Okay. Then we will start with the discussion and questions with Alderman Burnett.
Thank you, Mayor. Very excited about this. I know especially the residents that I worked with in Thornton Heights that started this process of looking into this are super excited. And so, I mean, we are going to keep kids safe in the PRZ. We're going to slow traffic down. We're going to, I believe, reduce cut-through traffic. So it's all positive for the community, especially in those PRZ zones, and those are some of the zones that need, I think, some of the most protection that we have. So very thankful we were able to come up with this, and I know a lot of residents are going to be very excited too. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Kane.
No comments.
Alderman LaCroy.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. That was, I think the policy change is fantastic. My only heartburn with this policy is the arbitrary 65% requirement on voting. If you go through and start doing numbers on that, you know, let's say there's 15 homes on a street that's affected, you know, our response rates to that, let's say 5 people respond. If we have 3 homeowners respond in affirmative to put speed cushions in, that vote fails. And what we're really doing is neglecting these most vulnerable, our children walking down these streets in that situation. I would personally like for the board to reconsider a 50% approval on the speed cushions in this case. Take that 65 out, put it down to 50%, 50% plus 1, a majority, and move forward with that. So I'm not sure how to move forward to, you know, make an amendment to make that change or not, but that's what I would like to see.
Okay, well, that would be Alderman Burnett's, I mean, he made the,
I mean, do you want my feedback right now?
well, if you want to change it, then you're the one that made the motion.
Okay.
So you'd have to.
I'll just give you my side, so I'm not gonna change mine, and my reasoning is, it's pretty simple. When it's 50-50, you don't really win anything, in my mind.
Sure.
Because you're making 50% of the people mad and 50% of the people happy, so I just, that doesn't seem like a big win to me. When these kinds of things happen, especially, you know, where this really started at for Thornton Heights, every single person that receives a ballot in there, I feel like is going to respond, especially now that it's limited to the affected area and somebody out here can't affect what's going on a few streets over. So I don't have concerns about the feedback, but I do have concerns about me making a change that makes 50% of the people happy and 50% mad. I would just, personally, I would like to see a majority, like a 65. I mean, right, I'm not married to 65, but that shows more than just 50-50 to me. That's kind of where my head's at.
You know, once again, the thought is we're protecting children here. What, you know, if we make 50% of the people upset about, you know, putting a speed cushion in and an area that they're going to have children walking down the street, and in Thornton Heights without sidewalks, they are walking down the street, and it is a huge cut-through. Okay, so Thornton Heights and other neighborhoods that are in the PRZ, currently, they might, go and vote a greater number than the 65%. But if we give them the opportunity to go 50+1, that takes that whole equation out of there. I'm not sure that putting the safety of a child is worth 15%.
Okay, and we will move on to Alderman, or Vice Mayor.
I can live with either, actually, so
Okay.
I see both points.
In my case, I think really, here's a deal where we've had votes in this subdivision, and it was unanimous. We didn't have anybody that didn't want to do it, okay? Other areas, we have had an issue where we would have people that use the cut-through quite often that lived in the subdivision that didn't want to see it change. They didn't want speed cushions. So I think the intent of the 65% is, it still allows the people that's affected to go back with a 50+1, so as a second option. So I think that's my point.
I'll make a comment.
Yeah, yes, Alex, you certainly may.
When we discussed this, the first time around, we picked option 3, the 65+1. I think, just like Drew said, it really solidifies that the people in the affected area want this. I look at it also as an alderman, if this is going to occur in your ward or your part of the town on one street, go knock on doors after the ballots are mailed, or it would behoove the town to get out and our media department to put out the information and say, hey, we need your input on this. Don't ignore it that it was the mail that came to you. So for me, I think we need to stay with what we picked from the last meeting, option 3.
Okay, then we will vote. And at this point, because it is not, there is a different opinion, I'll ask again for a roll call vote, which I normally don't do on these, but I will on this one. Okay.
Alderman Burnett,
Yes. Yes.
Alderman Kane,
Yes.
Alderman LaCroy,
Yes.
Alderman Meyer,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Meyer, sorry, and Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Okay. Let the record show that the policy has been approved as requested. Thank you, Eric. Okay, next will be citizen comments. Do we have anyone signed up? We do not. Then if that's the case, it's 7:17. Without objection, the January 22nd, 2026 Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman's oath. Sorry, David. Go ahead.
I know you all want to get out of here. I'll make this very brief, Mayor.
Yeah.
I promise. Two great things. One is we had a volunteer appreciation luncheon last week. All the volunteers in the museum and our Parks and Rec department and all over our town showed up. We had 3 special volunteers that spent a lot of time last year with us that received special recognition. I'd like to recognize them here tonight. And that's Sue Ann Hansler. She spent over 92 hours helping us out last year. Joyce Moran with 118 hours and Jenny Craddock with 151 hours. So they did a great job volunteering and helping us out throughout our town. The other thing we have coming up soon is on Sunday, February 1st, the FBA has their Health and Wellness Expo at the Community Center. Vic Scott's here. Vic, do you want to say a few words about the expo and what you got planned?
That'd be great.
A little shorter, so we're going to bring this down a little bit. So hi, I'm Vic Scott. I'm with Shop Farragut or the Farragut Business Alliance. We do have the Farragut Health and Wellness Expo coming up on February the 1st. We've got a full lineup of speakers. We're also going to have access to the stage this year, so we're going to be doing some demos. You'll have Pure Bar and Jazzercise, and we're also going to have a fashion show this year. The Farragut Community Center is going to be filled with lots of local Farragut businesses that have to do with health and wellness of all different types. And we're also going to be having hearing testing. We'll have food trucks and kids' activities. And we would love to have the entire community come out and join us from 1 to 5 on February 1st. Any questions?
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Looking forward to it, Vic. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
That's all I had to report, Mayor.
Okay, and Tom, we're not going to forget you either, so thank you. Very briefly, we did, as you know, we've had a lawsuit pending, a nuisance lawsuit attempting to get some signs removed from a yard of a resident who did not want to voluntarily remove those signs, and they were up for about 2.5 years. The trial of that matter occurred on Tuesday. Fortunately, the resident in December decided to take the signs down. We felt it was important enough, given the history and some of the other circumstances surrounding this situation, that we proceed to attempt to get an injunction, which is a court order that requires that the signs not be put up again. That was felt to be necessary because after the first sign was ruled to be unlawful, the resident put up 3 more signs that were exactly the same size as the first one that was found to be not in compliance with the town's ordinance. Our witnesses did a fabulous job. Mr. Smoke testified, and Holly Marlowe testified, and the president of the Bricksworth Homeowners Association testified, and they all did a fine job, and we had a realtor that was also a witness. The court has asked us to submit final arguments after we get the transcript of the trial testimony. The trial pretty much, it took all day. We kept everybody pretty much on edge. Mr. Shipley thought he was going to have to be a witness, but he ended up getting released. We had everybody on standby, and they all did a great job getting this prepared, and I think we'll just have to wait and see. Tried a lot of lawsuits in my day, and most of the time you have a sense of how it's going to go, but so I don't curse the thing, I generally don't say how I think it's going to go, but I thought the evidence went in well, and it's a rather unusual matter, partly because don't normally have to do this kind of thing to get compliance, and then it was the unusual part of it was that now the signs are down. The question becomes, is an injunction appropriate? And we'll just have to see what the judge says. That's all I have to report. If you have any questions. Okay. Any questions? None?